When I started working as a teacher full-time, I found myself binging podcasts like Don't Keep Your Day Job by Kathy Heller on my drive to and from work. And in that time, I would soak in people's inspiring stories of turning their passions into something real and impactful. And my mind was buzzing with endless ideas, but I didn't seem to have the time or energy to actually act on them. So I was really excited for my summer off to actually bring some of these ideas to life. And I imagined how far I could go with even just 1 week of no work responsibilities. And I remember looking forward to this so much. I was so eager to start my health blog and then also some other projects, like I wanted to make a cookbook, a natural product line. I wanted to upcycle clothes. I wanted to do so many things. And I thought in one summer I could just really soak up that time and energy to focus it on that. But when I finally had the time, the space, the energy, I never moved past the planning phase. So not only did 1 week pass, but the whole summer. And I was so puzzled because I had always been a high achiever with a really good work ethic and drive, like to succeed. So why is it that we can be so visionary, ambitious, and high achieving, but have no follow through on our own personal endeavors? Maybe you have big ideas too. Maybe you brainstorm and plan, but your ideas never seem to make it past that stage, or at least very far past that stage. And when it comes time to really start, something ends up coming up, or you redirect to anything other than taking that real action. And then somehow you just never actually follow through on the intention. And back then, I thought I did this because I was lazy and I needed to push myself harder. But I've learned that it's actually related to the part of us that willpower can't even touch, the subconscious mind. This is the part of our mind that is responsible for 95% of our human experience. And once you understand what I'm about to share, you'll know how to work with it to have the behavior and reality you actually desire. Welcome to Be Youer, where we talk about healing and creating a soul-aligned life of freedom so you can live fully alive and true to yourself. I'm happy you're here. Okay, I'm coming from my room. It has been so hard to even get myself up here to do this because I've been outside, because after how many weeks in the Philadelphia area did we have snow covering the ground? And now it's almost 80 degrees outside and sunny and beautiful. It feels like spring. I know it's going to get cold again, but I'm trying to soak up every second I can outside because it makes me so happy. It makes me feel so good. So anyway, it is beautiful out. I had a great day of, oh my gosh, I was about to go to the gym and I was like, oh no, I'm taking my yoga mat outside. I'm doing a move with Nicole Pilates. It was the hardest video I've ever done by her. And I'm sweating out there and I'm like, I just can't believe the ground was covered with snow like a week ago or so. Crazy. So today I'm talking about the subconscious mind, which has been my obsession for a little bit now. So this is the part of the mind that runs on autopilot in the background without our conscious awareness. And although we're not aware of it, it is the main influence of our thoughts, emotions, and behavior. And it operates on past memories and holds on to all of them like a data bank. Even the memories that you don't consciously remember. It's remembering everything you've experienced and holding it. And the subconscious is like this data bank that dictates our automatic behaviors, habits, motivations, 95% of our actions, pretty much, our lived experience as a human. So the subconscious is like the most important, influential thing on our life. And you know how your body automatically knows how to breathe without you thinking about it? Blinking, completing tasks like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think thoughts to make that happen. It's your subconscious mind at work. But it's also the same thing with automatic habits. So you know how a lot of people bite their nails in stressful situations? It's something that the body just automatically does. It's a habit that the subconscious mind is directing. And same thing if you've ever heard a specific song and it brought you back to a memory, or you smelled a certain like fragrance or scent and it brought you back to a memory and you like didn't even remember you had that memory. It's tucked away in that vast memory bank of your subconscious. So the subconscious is brilliant. It does so much for us, but it also holds us back from expansion at times. And it's not because it doesn't want you to succeed. It's because it doesn't think like your subconscious mind. It's not thinking about you succeeding or not. It doesn't operate on what makes sense, but it rather operates on our past feelings and memories and the beliefs they created. So for example, I experienced situations throughout my childhood and teenage years of being picked on when I was the new kid. And this happened each time I moved. So in elementary school and in middle school into high school. So my subconscious held on to these memories along with the feelings of feeling insecure, being targeted, scared, and ultimately that translates as unsafe. So when it came time to share my health blog that summer, my subconscious honored my belief that being visible to new crowds or big crowds is unsafe, instead of the actual logic that sharing a personal endeavor like my health blog online as an adult is an entirely different thing, and it is safe. So this is why our beliefs are so important. They are the thing that is steering the subconscious mind's understanding of what is best for us. So, like I said, the subconscious has many jobs, but its biggest priority is to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us alive. Again, it's not thinking about the details of like what you want. It's doing its job that is like wired into your body. So it does this by, number one, honoring our beliefs over what makes sense. It's going to honor the deep-seated beliefs, not the consciously chosen ones, over the things that you're like, well, logically, sharing this health blog it's safe. It's not dangerous. No, it's honoring the beliefs over that. And the second thing it does is it keeps us in the familiar rather than charting into the unknown, because it thinks of the unknown as scary and unsafe. Our foundational beliefs were created at a really young age, and everything that we've experienced, learned, or processed all throughout life beyond that young age has influenced our beliefs. So when I think back to myself as a kid, I felt really celebrated and safe being visible to crowds. I remember being like up front and center when I took dance classes and when we did our performances. I had no trouble, but then once I experienced those experiences of being the new kid and having a hard time, that thought of standing out immediately lit up this neural pathway, which is a signal from the brain to the nervous system that associated visibility with danger. So because it didn't matter that I had a good, safe experience as a kid, that was my original belief. But once I started to feel this danger element of, when you're new and there's a crowd of people and they don't know you, it can lead to these unsafe situations, especially when I experienced that a couple times, that strengthens this neural pathway of, okay, standing out in a crowd, being visible to a group of people, you shouldn't do that. And it highlights that neural pathway more and more because it is something that it's flagging as danger. So many of our beliefs are deep in the subconscious, and you often don't even know they're there. So rather than consciously realizing, I must be sabotaging my health blog because I have a limiting belief that visibility is unsafe, your subconscious sneakily leads you through life in ways that subtly prevent you from taking action. So back then, I just felt like I was being lazy, and I felt like things were coming up and it was, oh my gosh, it's my circumstances that's making me not be able to have the time and energy. It's this responsibility that fell onto my plate. Like, all these things are really subtle and they feel like they're out of your control. It feels like a coincidence that something is always coming up when you're about to get started. So my point here is that limiting beliefs are rarely obvious to us. Sometimes we don't even realize that we've been in a freeze response until we look back and see how much time has passed. So now I'm going to talk about how I rewire my subconscious. The beautiful thing is that we each have the lifelong ability to restructure our brains thanks to neuroplasticity. This is like the best thing in the world because a lot of people think that we get set in our ways. Yes, that's true, but we have this ability to change the structure of our brains. The brain is never hardwired. It's moldable. And that means we can rewire our neural pathways. Like I said, that one that associated visibility with danger, I can rewire that, and we can rewire our beliefs and thus change our behavior and our reality, which is awesome. So a lot of people already know this or knew this, but the notion alone didn't change anything for them when they found out this information. We have to be intentional about restructuring to see the change we desire. So I'm going to share how I do this. So the first thing I do is I dive into my subconscious, and it's simple. This is all very simple actually. So you're going to identify what you're struggling with. And then after you identify that, you're going to identify what you truly desire. Even though this is simple, it does take a little bit of digging and being really honest. So sometimes it's hard actually to get honest with yourself about what you truly want if there were no fears. And then after that, I identify any resistance or thoughts that come up when I imagine my desires. So once you identify, okay, I'm struggling with this thing and what I want is this thing. But when I think about what I want, like, I feel this tightness because I feel like, who am I to want that? That is not possible for people of my income. People that have my job don't get to do that thing. Like, you start to have these thoughts and these feelings that feel like resistance. They feel bad. So what thoughts are trying to convince me that I can't have what I want? Where do I feel this in my body? It might be like your throat's constricted or your shoulders are tight. You're crouching in a little bit. So I dig deep into this because this is how I find my limiting beliefs. And I usually do this through journaling or talking it out with somebody I trust. But once I identify them, it's so worth it because then we can rewire them. So once I do that, so for example, like think about identifying that what I truly desire is to put my work out in the world and post this health blog. And I want to do that, putting it out there, like actually taking real action, not just behind the scenes, like preparing it. Well, back then, like probably different thoughts came up around, well, what if people target me? Like, what if it doesn't go well and I'm, ostracized? Like, it would have triggered these resistance that were related to my past memories. And that's how I recognize them. So once I identify them, I ask myself if these beliefs are the ultimate truth. And hint, hint, it's always going to be a no, because there's always multiple ways to look at things. Things can always shift. So then I reframe it. The first thing I do is I explain to myself why the limiting beliefs are not the only way to see it. So for example, visibility does not automatically equal danger. Although it may have led to some bad situations in the past, there are so many times that I have been visible and that I see others standing out in a crowd, and it's like the best thing ever. There are people who make millions of dollars because they are visible. There are people with, people who love them and would protect them fiercely because of them sharing their message and being visible and sharing helpful information, you know? So I start to explain why this limiting belief is not the only way to see it. And then I start to choose beliefs that feel better. These are beliefs that are more true and more empowering. So I might say, stepping into visibility is a chance for me to help others. That feels better than stepping into visibility is a chance for me to be targeted. You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be opposite. It has to feel better, and it has to be something that can help you build momentum to move forward. So once you start choosing these beliefs, you want to find evidence to support these beliefs. So like I said, this is where I might look around and seek role models that are doing what I am trying to prove to myself is safe. So I'll use Kathy Heller, for example. She is a podcaster, and, you know, similar to me sharing a health blog, like she's sharing content that is designed to help people. And, you know, it's very safe for her. In fact, she has a lot of people who are saying their lives are changed because of her. And once you see that evidence, this is starting to make your brain see other possibilities. So after I do all that, this is where I feel into and regulate the new belief. And this is like the most important part, because this is the subconscious part. Everything we've done so far has been conscious, which definitely does impact the subconscious, because what we focus on expands. So when you're focusing on, you know, kind of proving wrong the limiting belief and proving right these new beliefs, you're starting to expand and focus on these ideas, which is a good thing, but it's never going to be long lasting to only do that. So this is like the important part, is feeling into it, regulating it. And the way I do this is, how can I feel and experience the energy of the new belief as much as possible while feeling safe? And what do I mean by the energy of it? It's like the feeling of it, the essence of it. Okay? So this safe part, feeling safe, is very key. We don't want this to feel stressful or frantic and like be experienced as more danger. We want it to feel good and safe. So I asked myself, how can I take inspired and aligned action while regulating my nervous system so that I can prove to my subconscious that I am indeed safe in this transformation? So this regulation part, I'm going to go a little more into it, but it has to do with feeling the feelings, like through your own visualization and things like that, but also taking action and making sure you're safe in the action you're taking, stretching yourself a little bit. You're not taking this drastic action that's going to honestly just make you feel more unsafe. You're going to stretch yourself into baby action, that's brave action, that moves the needle forward, creates momentum, and you're going to pair that with regulating your nervous system, which we're about to get into. This may have, for me, looked like sharing my first health blog post and then regulating my nervous system with EFT tapping, or watching a comfort show, or spending time with loved ones. Those things would make my body feel safe as I stretched myself a bit past my comfort zone. So the nervous system is made of the brain, spinal cord, nerves, and sensory organs. And the nervous system carries messages, which are those neural pathways I was talking about, between the brain and the body to control the body and regulate movement, thought, senses, and automatic actions like breathing. So when we regulate the nervous system, what we're doing is we're shifting from stress mode, or the sympathetic state, into rest and digest mode, which is parasympathetic state. And obviously there's so many reasons why this is good for us, but rest and digest mode is necessary for the body to go through so many of its just healthy processes. So it's just a it's just a healthy thing to do in general, but doing this also helps us feel safe. It helps us manage emotions, and it helps us have the harmony that the body needs for healing and growth. So a lot of people live day in and day out in stress mode. This triggers hormonal imbalance, fat storage, and an array of symptoms that a lot of people struggle with in today's world. So when we add in the stress of stretching ourselves past our comfort zones to reach new goals, it's important to regulate, not only for your health and your well-being, but so that the subconscious gets new memories and evidence of that experience beyond the comfort zone being safe. And so that the neural pathways that once associated change with unsafe begin to see it as no big deal. It becomes normalized. So here are some of the tools I use for rewiring my nervous system and rewiring my beliefs and subconscious thoughts. Number one, that I think is so accessible and easeful for people, is EFT tapping. This is a practice that you can find on YouTube. It's something that I love to practice myself and lead people through, lead my clients through. You somatically release the old story and emotion, meaning your somatic means through the body. So you're tapping on acupressure points while you're speaking. It's combining like neural linguistic with the tapping on the acupressure points. And what's happening is you're releasing the old story and emotion and creating safety in the body. And it just tapping on the acupressure points brings you into rest and digest mode. So once you combine it with the wording as well, and you start to visualize and feel the new belief as you're doing it, it's just rewiring your neural pathways in your brain so powerfully. So that's honestly my favorite. But also visualizing. Visualization is when you imagine and you feel the new belief. You are experiencing it in your mind as if it's real, and the body cannot distinguish between what's real in front of you in real life, tangibly, that you could hold and touch, and what your mind sees and imagines. It can't tell the difference. So it is really powerful to do visualization. Also, journaling and talking things out, just like I said when I first am identifying the belief and I journal it. That is really powerful too, because also writing is very powerful. It's a powerful way for your brain to be like organizing the thoughts. Writing and journaling like with a pen and paper is a somatic practice as well. So you're fleshing out the old beliefs, you're reframing, and you can also do something called scripting, where you write about your life or your day or an experience as if it already happened. And that can be a very powerful way to help you feel those feelings and get in that energy. You really just let your imagination go wild with your journal or with talking things out. A lot of people call it a rampage when they just like talk out loud, positivity, rewiring their brain to believe in that thing. So the other thing, obviously, is to experience it, to stress yourself beyond your comfort zone with small but brave action that helps your subconscious feel the experience safely. So examples of these like small but brave actions could be share one social media post, test drive the car you want, take a weekend trip to a place that you are imagining spending a lot of time in or moving to, or get a little taste of the thing that you're going for in whatever way you can. Another thing is to seek evidence of others that are proving your desired belief is possible. So take in content that helps you believe the new belief, create a vision board, listen to music, look at art or consume art, podcasts, social media content. Like my social media following on one of my accounts is it's the only one I really scroll on, and it's so intentional And I will, be very serious with the algorithm of clicking like not interested and unfollowing and muting, and being very intentional about the people that I'm clicking follow and the people who I'm scrolling through. If I'm scrolling through the explore page or my curated people I follow page, that is all very intentional. I limit my social media scrolling, but that can actually be helpful at times. Also, seeking evidence through books, blogs, shows, like anything that's telling a story that is giving you evidence of possibility and proof to back up the new belief and help you feel that energy of it. Now, here are some nervous system tools to regulate and create safety and harmony in your body. So all of the things I just explained that you can use to rewire also just naturally regulates, but you also can do breath work. I highly recommend the Breathe with Sandy YouTube channel, especially for someone who has no experience with breath work. You might think like, why do I need someone to help me with breathing? But this leaves you feeling euphoric if you intentionally follow some guided breath work. It's incredible if you've never experienced it, and it can make you feel so much more calm and peace while not feeling low on energy. Like, it energizes you, but not in a wired way. It's really beautiful. Grounding in nature. This could look like planting your feet on the ground, laying on the ground, like going to the beach. Grounding is so good. That's what I was doing today. Obviously, getting out in nature is good for our nervous system and helpful for stress. Acupressure. There are certain points on our body that can alleviate certain types of tension or pain. I know certain points that I've learned to open my lymphatic, pathways of my neck and my décolleté and everything. And those are really, really helpful for stress and jaw pain. And it just totally impacts the nervous system generally. Also, touch and massage. I kind of like put those together personally, but like I said, there's all these acupressure points. I do kind of think the entire body being massaged and like pressed on and all of that, it definitely does some positive good for your nervous system. So you can do a lot of self-massage. There's guided YouTube videos and things like that, or you can be intuitive about it. That's a huge thing, is I will go learn different systems and formats of doing things. Like I said, I've learned different acupressure points, but I'm not an expert and I don't want to follow a video every time. Like, I'm so intuitive with it for the most part. Generally, regulating your nervous system has a lot to do with honoring your body and like getting in tune with your body. So doing any of these things in an intuitive way is actually a really positive practice, and even just like trusting yourself and tuning into your body, connecting with your body, feeling into what you need. So that in itself is very powerful. There's something called de-armoring, and this is basically, so there's this, notion that a lot of people, when they go through life and they experience different things, they start to physically brace for impact a little bit and mentally brace for impact. You build this armor, whether that's, caving your heart and chest in and rounding your shoulders over time, any part of the body that kind of, and your mind, it's the idea really that you're guarding yourself. So de-armoring is with no expectation, opening and releasing and softening that armor. And there's so many ways to do that. I mean, there's like de-armoring of like the genital area. There's de-armoring of the heart area, of the shoulders. So that's a really interesting and fascinating path to go down as well. Meditation. I'm not going to go super into meditation. I'm going to assume you kind of understand. Yoga, so good. I feel 100 times better after I do yoga. It's like probably the number one thing I do when I feel super crazy. when my mind's spiraling, when I'm overthinking, because I like yoga because it combines movement with breath, and it's kind of meditative in a way. Like, it's very quiet, and it quiets your mind while moving. The combination is incredible. Stretching, movement, honestly, like walking, all like dancing, anything. These are somatic things that release stuck energy, and it releases tension. Great for your nervous system. Hugging, looking into a loved one's eyes, connecting with others, intimacy, pet cuddles, like that connection, safe connection is so good for the nervous system. In fact, I know a lot of people who have gotten healthier in ways that they had been working hard to do just by like finding the right romantic partner. So, that's the whole component of stress as a root cause to a lot of our struggles. It's like, I think it's more impactful than most people realize, than I ever realized. I definitely have been like, I've known it, but I think it's like way more important than like taking the tangible steps and exercising, going to the gym, that kind of stuff. Okay, and to round out this list, comfort show, comfort music, cozy spaces like comfort blankets and maybe stuffed animals, things like that, resting, stillness, and sunlight and fresh air. So I practice all the above, and I would love to share more about these things. So let me know if you would like me to go more in depth of how I use any of these strategies. So when I had the vision, work ethic, and ambition, but not the follow through, it wasn't a lack of discipline or willpower. It was my subconscious mind trying to protect me from feeling like I did as the new kid years ago. It was the belief that sharing openly online would lead to danger. And it resulted in a lot of procrastination that I didn't recognize because it seemed like I was being productive. But in reality, I was just overthinking and busying myself with tasks that did not truly move me forward. I mean, I have done this with multiple projects, multiple times. So nervous system regulation, belief rewiring, and small but brave action have been the most powerful solution to this stuck state that I've been in multiple times, and that I know a lot of other people struggle with as well. So this is the work that I now practice in my own life, and I guide others through as well. If you resonate with this, you're not lazy, you don't need more willpower, and you don't need more external information or advice. Instead, you need to turn inward and figure out the limiting beliefs that are running the show so you can reprogram them. And you need to create safety in your body. Chances are this kind of path will lead you into doing less to achieve your goals. So like I said, this is not about adding more onto your plate. It's about shifting in a way that actually alleviates and creates relief. As you rewire and rewrite these beliefs and regulate your nervous system and take small, brave action, you will see the immense power of your subconscious mind. And you'll realize that following through on your goals does not have to require more hard work, more extensive time being put towards it, a bunch of pressure. Like, I feel like a lot of times when we think about our next goal, we're like, oh, it's another thing. It does not have to be that way. You're going to realize that like all of that whole idea and that habit of thinking when you think of your goals, it's programming that's keeping you stuck. It is programming and conditioning of the subconscious mind. And so when you rewire and do all these things, you create relief from heaviness around your desire from the inside out. So like, talk about getting to the root of a problem. getting to our subconscious is the key for getting out of our way. And I want to share what I've used these practices to help me with. So first of all, I have been able to stick to daily movement, adjust to better sleep habits, post to social media, create my dream mindfulness journal, which I'll be launching soon. I'm so excited to share that. Raise my standards in my relationships and stop people pleasing. This was such a big journey for me, by the way. Raise my self-love and confidence for my current self as I am. Feel optimistic and joyful, even as an empath facing darkness in this world. Reframe aging and feel like life is only getting better and actually feeling excited for the future. Leaving positions and situations that didn't serve me. I'm a pro at that now. Raising my belief in myself and my dreams. And shifting from living through hustle to living in this feminine cyclical way that has felt so much more flowy and natural and complementary to me. So the more I do this work, the more I want to keep going. So basically, I'm on this journey with you. There's so much more I want to rewire and heal and up-level. So I'm going to be sharing that kind of journey along the way, especially on social media and on here. So if this resonated with you and you would like to experience this work firsthand, I'm planning a free guided group session where I'll walk you through nervous system and belief rewiring in real time so you can take your own brave next step. I'm going to link the link to join my membership waitlist, and that's where I'll be sending the invite for that free experience. So that will be in the show notes. Also, it will be linked in the Substack blog. So thank you so much for being here. I'd love to hear from you. What dream have you been overthinking instead of starting? Please reach out. I hope you have an incredible day or night and that this really clicks for you and it is part of that catalyst for you to create some momentum and get out of that feeling of being stuck. I am rooting for you, and XOXO. Thank you for listening. The best way to say thank you is by subscribing and leaving a review. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone you love or post it on social media and tag me at KristenRoseXO. You can find all my free resources and current offers at KristenRoseXO.com. That's Kristen with an E. Everything is linked for you in the show notes. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.